Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the season finale here around this 1.5-mile racetrack. I am Peter Shorten. Joining me alongside here tonight is none other than Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, we are all the way in the season finale now. Two drivers have a shot at the title here tonight. Jason Gracias and Maxwell Castro will be keeping an eye on the 15 and the 1 tonight.
Yes, we will, Peter, and it's a pleasure to be here. These two guys have certainly earned their way into this championship battle, and last week they were neck and neck for the majority of the race. And Maxwell Castro comes here with a 10-point lead, Peter, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to hold on to that. Jason Gracias is not going to go down quietly. I expect Gracias to just try to start up front tonight, which is rare for him, and lead some laps and put some distance between himself and Castro to try to make up that gap.
And here is the number 15, Maxwell Castro. He is your points leader entering into tonight. Currently fastest of all in the number 15 Next Level Racing Chevy Camaro. Been so good, Garrett, since joining the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here this season. He joined mid-season, missed a couple of the early races, but he made up for it. 2 wins in his first 2 starts here in the National Sim Racing Association. Hot out of the gates, and he hit the wall there. Now, interestingly enough, Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine, well, he just went 3rd fastest. He's using that Jeff Gordon throwback, the T-Rex car as it was formerly known, at least still known to this day, kind of an infamous number 1 machine. Gracias just went 3rd on the board, missed out on Castro's top time by 3/1000ths of a second. It's going to be a fun one here tonight between Castro and Gracias, already shaping up here in our pole shootout.
Yeah, they're starting and qualifying, Peter. They're not going to be too far away from each other when this race starts, and a track like Charlotte really plays into that. This is a track where guys are going to be able to race each other. Everyone has laps here at Charlotte. I don't think there's anyone that races iRacing that hasn't been to Charlotte in one form or another, whether it be from the street stocks all the way up until the Cup cars, and these Xfinity cars drive nice around here as we watch a very nice view coming out of turn 3 here. I believe that's Philip Scott. We'll see what type of lap he puts down.
Yeah, Philip Scott in the number 99 National Ninja League machine goes across the start-finish line, and let's see where he is placed on the board. Currently sitting unscored, so that time not allowed by iRacing. I can only imagine that maybe he clipped the wall. Perhaps that was his warm-up lap. We'll see what he can do on this lap as he enters through turns number 3 and 4. But want to welcome in the chat here tonight in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Like we mentioned, it is the season finale. It all comes down to tonight, but only 2 drivers have an opportunity to walk away with the series crown. Jason Gracias as well as Maxwell Castro will be battling things out. There is a poll in the chat. Philip Scott went 11th on his second lap. There's Ryan Johnson, currently 4th position on the board. But if you want to vote in that chat, feel free to. It is currently tied up. Jason Gracias and Maxwell Castro sharing 1 vote apiece at who you think will walk away with the series title as Ben Mashburn comes across the start-finish line to complete his second lap. He was 14th after lap number 1 and does not do any better on his second timed lap. So all of a sudden, the racetrack goes relatively quiet. Only 1 race car still out there, and that is the Monster Energy rehab machine of Justin White. White is going to go 16th out of the 16 drivers so far to take time here in the craigslipshop.co.uk poll shootout as he blasts down the backstretch towards turn number 1. Mitchell Adams joining us in the chat saying championship race time. Mitchell Adams knows how to get the job done, Garrett, here in the National Sim Racing Association. A couple of titles to his name over in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. He's joining us here on the 3-Wide TV broadcast here tonight. Sit back, Mitchell, enjoy the show. It is only going to be 120 miles that separate us and the series title, as the checkered flag will soon be coming out. Just 18 seconds left until the checkered flag waves on our season finale when it comes to these final qualifying sessions of the year.
Yeah, Peter, last qualifying session of the year. It's bittersweet in a way. This is our last broadcast of the series, at least for a while. Maybe who knows? Maybe they'll be able to afford us down the line. But just it's been an absolute pleasure, and I appreciate NSRA for letting us do this, buddy. But let's have our best race of the year and call this one as we look at our starting lineup.
Yeah, starting on the pole, Maxwell Castro. And Garrett, if you're the points leader coming into tonight, that's exactly where you want to start this race. You want to start this race on the pole. 2 1,000ths of a second separates our front row. In fact, 13 thousandths of a second separate our first 5 drivers on the grid. Castro ran a 30.414. John Freeman ran a 30.416. Jason Gracias a 30.417 in third. Ryan Johnson there in fourth. Just 7 thousandths off the pole time. John Canizaro Jr., 13 thousandths off the pole time there in fifth. Michael Madden starting sixth, 26 thousandths of a second. I mean, holy smokes, Garrett. We got 10 drivers, 11 drivers actually, inside 1/10 of a second. That is as fast as you can blink your eye. Unbelievable. Castro, Freeman, your front row. Jason Gracias, Ryan Johnson, third and fourth. Canizaro in fifth. Michael Madden rolling off from the outside of row number 3 here tonight. Christopher Darling will be rolling off from the inside of row number 4. Gary Eschen, row number 4 outside. Jared Appel and Jeffrey Vickery going to round out our top 10 starters here for this 120-mile race. Garrett, take it away.
Here we go. Philip Scott, the number 99, could be a contender tonight, starting 11th. Nate Maurer had a good run last week, starting in 12th. 13th, we have Jason Appel in the 51. We have Jeffrey Vickery to his outside. Oh, I'm on the wrong, Peter, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Looking at the wrong thing, Garrett.
Peter, I'm getting old and it's late, and I shouldn't even be doing this, but no, Justin White, 13th. Doug Neal in 14th. We have Ben Mashburn rounding out your top 15. Linton Grimm had a nice top 10 run last week. He will roll off in 16th. Travis Heffler will roll off in 17th. Our good friend Jason Shua, I don't think we've seen him in a little bit, rolling off in 18th. Matt Cherry, that's a weird qualifying run for him. He's usually up near the front. And another fast driver, James Miller, rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, James Miller did not set a time in his number 20, the only Canadian in the field here tonight. The pace car lights are off. We're going to get set for 80 laps around this joint. And Garrett, it's kind of a unique 1.5-mile racetrack because of the fact that it's fairly uniquely shaped. Because turns number 1 and 2 race very different than turns number 3 and 4. It's not like Texas Motor Speedway where the banking is significantly different. Just the profile of the corners are very different. You have a very lazy entry into turn number 1, I would say, and then you have not so lazy entry into turn number 3. There's a little bit more bumps down in turns number 3 and 4, and that wall comes at you quick out of turn number 4 as well.
Peter, this is one of those racetracks that everybody always likes, and I could never figure this place out. So I am probably the last person that should be in the booth telling people how to get around Charlotte. All I know is these guys are going to drive the wheels off these things. They're going to make fast laps, and they're probably going to be very closely packed together, Peter, by our qualifying times. So I'll rely on you for all the intricate details of this racetrack, and I'm just pretty much going to be as useless as a commentator as possible tonight. I'm more of a fan. Let's see how this championship battle goes as we're heading to the green.
Heading to the green flag in the flagman's hand. We're racing here at the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway as they race towards turn number 1. Everyone getting those cars up to speed. Here we go. Buckle up, everyone. 80 laps here tonight on 3Wide TV to crown the series champion. As you look down the backstretch, already side by side between our 2 drivers contending for the series title, Jason Gracias and Maxwell Castro, as they head towards turn number 1. Garrett Gracias way up there on the top side. Castro going to come around to lead the first lap.
Yeah, that's your battle right there for the lead of this race and the championship. And Jason Gracias is not going to let Maxwell Castro get out of his sight. But you look at how close these cars are, and if you make one little bobble, you're gonna. Maxwell Castro. If he had a bobble there, Peter, he'd probably end up 5th or 6th. That's how close these guys are battling. As Gracias looks to take the advantage into turn 3.
Gracias now diving down to the inside in turn number 3, trying to hook that white line down there, trying to find a little bit of grip. We saw last lap that Castro was on the inside line, Gracias on the outside, but at the line, I think Gracias led that lap. It was almost a dead heat as they went across the start-finish line. Gracias now still holding that inside line into turns number 1 and 2, able to clear Maxwell Castro, but can the number 15 come back here down the backstretch? And Garrett, of course, going to take a couple of positions for Gracias to win this series title in that number 1 machine. Of course, remember, Jeff Gordon was lightning quick back in the day when he had that T-Rex machine, and Gracias is going to try and replicate that here tonight.
Gracias just has to go out there and win the race, Peter. You can't overthink it. There's nothing more you can do from a points perspective than win this race, and that's exactly what Gracias is doing. And we'll take a look at a replay. Apparently something happened a little further back in the field.
Yeah, something did happen, and it was almost a big moment right here. Chris Darling got a little clip from the behind from the number 37 machine right there of Michael Madden. He was able to save it. Great job by Chris Darling to keep all four wheels underneath him and prevent that being a very catastrophic beginning to the race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He will continue on. Did lose a spot or two in that scuffle. He is back to the 8th position, dropping one spot from his initial starting spot. Biggest mover of the race so far, Ben Mashburn in the number 24 MaxGrafix Chevy Camaro right there on the outside of Gary Eschen. He's gained 5 spots, Garrett, and we are only 6 laps in, so Mashburn, he's mashing his way through the field.
Peter, the tightness of this pack out there really, I think, complements Ben Mashburn's driving style. He is not afraid to mix it up out there, and to see him taking advantage of these close quarters combat that we have going on, Peter, is really no surprise. And just to go back to Chris Darling getting a little contact early in the race, that's a good thing. Chris Darling is a much better racer when he's a little bit heated behind the wheel, let's say. I like to see that passion come out of Chris, and sometimes that's all it takes. We'll see if he can make his way towards the front.
Yeah, Chris Darling, we'll see if he can make his way up to the front. We've seen Chris have some relatively good runs at this particular racetrack over in the Truck Series, although those good runs have been thwarted by some contact with the wall, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. But a relatively short event here, only 120 miles here tonight, and Garrett, with the speed that these cars are running around this racetrack, you see the speed down there, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, 180 miles an hour at the start-finish line. This race, if it goes caution-free, will whip by in an absolute hurry. We're looking at probably a race time of maybe 45 to 50 minutes if we go caution-free. And of course, we will have a couple of pit stops. I think we're going to see 2 pit stops if we go green flag. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll only see 1, but they do run a smaller tank here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. And if you have not checked out BeerStreetJournal.com yet here tonight, make sure you do so, because BeerStreetJournal.com, a big sponsor here of this series, always putting on a good show. John Canizara Jr. has now put an extra car between the 2 championship contending drivers. That could be big for the series championship when this is all said and done. That's still a long way to go.
Every car that jumps up here between Jason Gracias and Maxwell Castro is Jason Gracias' new best friend. And even someone like John Canizaro, who really doesn't have anything good about him as a person, and you wouldn't want to normally consider him a friend. Right now, that Gracias is his biggest fan out there. Get him by that number 15, and hopefully Freeman, Johnson, and others can also make that move.
And you know, here's the thing about John Canizaro, though, Garrett, is he whips around this racetrack. He doesn't care that the 2 drivers around him are racing for the championship. Yeah, he might race them a little bit easier, but if he gets a run on Jason Gracias, he's going to go for it. He's going to try and get around that number 1 machine without a doubt. I mean, Canizaro's not going to be a driver who just sits back and kind of sits between these 2 championship drivers. We call him the wild child for that reason. He is a little bit of a wild child. And in that number 17, got sporting the Budweiser machine here tonight. I don't think I've ever seen a Budweiser Ford Mustang, at least not kind of with the modern Budweiser logo on a Ford. But hey, you know, whatever floats your boat. Maybe actually, no, I take that back. I think maybe Casey Kane used to run a Ford in the Evernham days. Or maybe I'm getting things back to front. I don't know. But it definitely looks funny on that Mustang, at least to me, because I just have not seen that before. I'm so used to seeing Budweiser on Chevys and in that bright red look. And it was kind of odd when it went over to Ray Evernham after the DEI Budweiser days of Dale Earnhardt Jr. But nonetheless, Canizaro's not going to sit back. We've seen that out of him all season long. He's one of those drivers who... he's kind of like a terrier, Garrett. It's probably the best way to describe the wild child. You know, he just kind of keeps gnawing away at you. You know, he's annoying when you don't want him to be annoying behind you. And Canizaro, and I'm sure Jason Gracias keeps looking back at that mirror and says, oh man, I have Canizaro behind me. How great is that? Because he definitely knows how to hit the intimidate button on that Budweiser machine.
Yeah, Peter, I talked to some drivers before the race. I took a poll in the garage area, and they said which driver out there is most likely to impact this championship battle and wreck one of the two guys going for the championship. And without a doubt, without even hesitation, these guys all said John Cannizzaro. So take that for what you will. I don't think anyone disagrees with what you just said, Peter. Cannizzaro's going to get up there, and if he has a run on Jason Gracias, whether he likes Jason Gracias, doesn't like Jason Gracias, whatever, he's going to go for it, and you're absolutely right.
Now, I do want to make mention, two drivers at the top of the screen on the ticker. You just saw him right there. Oh, Philip Scott in the wall. Philip Scott hard in the wall. Ben Mashburn nowhere to go. And, oh, more contact. The number 2 of Justin White's going through the infield grass. He's going to come up the racetrack. Ben Mashburn's in the wall. Caution flag is out.
Well, there's some excitement for everyone here. We have Philip Scott hitting the wall, which we've seen a couple of times this year. Philip Scott leaves it all out there. We're going to take a look at this replay here. Philip Scott into the wall, and Ben Mashburn nowhere to go. And all those positions he gained, he's going to have to repair some damage. Head to pit road.
Yeah.
We're watching the tail end of this. Oh, Peter.
That's a hard hit. Someone else at the end there. A couple of drivers not really slowing down. It could have been a little bit worse there for Ben Mashburn. He takes a fast tow back to pit road. Excuse me. Let's see if we can see what happened from this particular camera angle. There's the initial contact with the wall. We'll put this kind of in 3-wide TV slow-mo. Here comes Nathan Maurer, the 971 machine. I don't think there was any contact with the 971. There definitely was with Justin White in the number 2 machine. Ben Mashburn, after that additional contact with White, continuing to kind of seesaw on the wheel there, Garrett, and unfortunately just kind of hooked up towards the wall. Man, Doug Neal there in the number 71, he got lucky. The 08 to Glenn Grimm also got lucky. Let's see if we can go on an onboard with a couple of those drivers and see what it looked like. Here we go. On board with Glenn Grimm in the 08 machine. Man, you kind of can't really tell what's happening until you see the 24 kind of go seesawing. And man, I'm sure Glenn Grimm will need another pair of underwear after that.
Yeah, Peter, you know, we have a wonderful sponsor on the series, Beer Street Journal, but after all the close calls we've had this year, maybe some Fruit of the Loom or Haynes or Duluth or something could really get involved and make some money off these guys, because there has definitely been more than one change of underpants this season.
Yeah, Doug Neal needs another pair of underwear as well, as he was able to get around all that scuffle. Let's see if we can go on board one more time with Ben Mashburn, who obviously got the worst end of the first caution flag of the night. Watch him on the wheel trying to get that thing saved, and all of a sudden it hooked, and there's the wall right there. Ben Mashburn's night may be done. Mashburn's one of those who doesn't often kind of stick it out until the end, unless he's in some type of a championship situation, a championship fight. Now, I do want to make mention, as we jump back to live scenes here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the season finale 120, that John Freeman is going to be your new race leader in the 04 machine. Did not elect to take tires under this particular caution flag. He actually got around Maxwell Castro as well. So Castro, who appears to have not taken tires, is up to second. Travis Hoffler is now up to third. As I say that, though, he dives onto pit road. So Jason Gracias here coming up, Garrett, is going to be the first driver on 4 fresh tires here as we close in on the quarter race distance. And, you know, I kind of like the idea of that Gracias had. I mean, obviously Castro's trying to save a set of tires for later in the race, and that's the reason why he did not take any tires under this particular caution. But I like what Jason Gracias and John Cannizzaro and other people did, because that run there had a little bit of a green flag feel to it. I mean, if it wasn't for that little bit of contact with Philip Scott getting into the wall, I really think we could have gone to the next green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I agree with that, Peter. It seems to have a green feel to it, this race, and I would certainly come down pit road and take on some tires at this point. What's the if we have another run like that? We're at about halfway, and then you could make it go from there as far as pit strategy goes. So I don't think Jason Gracias is putting himself at a disadvantage by any means, and it certainly could play to his favor if this thing stays green. So something to keep an eye on, Peter. We used to seeing this type of thing in these races in the series. We always see guys on differing pit strategies. Sometimes you're the hero, and sometimes you're not. But that's why we have 80 laps to figure it out.
Coming around to take the green flag on lap number 19 for the second time here tonight. John Freeman will be leading us to the green flag on that outside line. At least it appears like that number 04 will be heading here into the restart zone. There is power down. We're back racing here at Charlotte. Doesn't look like there's any wheel spin out of the 04 machine. As I say that, he might have had some late wheel spin before he got to turn number 1. That's allowed Maxwell Castro to get to the race lead. But now the big question here is going to be, Garrett, how long can Castro hold on to that race lead with those older tires? Because here comes Jason Gracias, just came off pit road with 4 fresh tires, already looking for the race lead.
Yeah, Peter, I was going to say turn 3. He didn't quite get there in time, but turn 4 is going to be the answer to your question, as Jason Gracias is going to be able to put the power down and take the lead here from Maxwell Castro. Here comes the Wild Child as well, and I think they'll make quick work here of the 15.
Yeah, John Canizaro Jr. now looking underneath Maxwell Castro. Ryan Johnson trying to follow suit in the number 38, the Dale Earnhardt Junior Motorsports scheme right there, or a throwback scheme to one of the earlier Junior Motorsports race cars. As now Maxwell Castro really starting to bleed those positions. Jared Appel's gone by. Chris Darling's gone by. Here comes the number 37 of Michael Madden, looking now all over the back bumper of the number 15 machine. It's really going to be interesting to see how this all sorts out, with whether we get a long green flag run. But like I said, I kind of had that green flag feel. It took a little bit of a mistake there by Philip Scott to get into the outside wall, but at least to me, I didn't see a lot of spins in practice. I didn't see any major hiccups in qualifying of drivers getting loose. I think this setup here tonight, Garrett, is fairly stable for these drivers as Castro continues to lose spots. As here comes Nathan Maurer. Justin White, who was just involved in an accident, has even caught up to the number 15. So this could be very big for one of our championship contenders tonight.
It certainly can, Peter, but Max is taking the chance here to have either a tire advantage or some sort of pit advantage here at the end of this race. So if you're him, you keep your car clean at this point. You hope that this run isn't long enough to potentially put you in danger of losing a lap, because that would just throw everything out the window if that happens, for the most part. But right now, you're taking care of that number 15. You're realizing right now in the position you're in, you're losing points to Jason Gracias. Jason Gracias might even have the points lead depending on how many positions he lost just there, as we watch a good side-by-side battle. But Maxwell Castro just needs to hang on for this run. He's already at the disadvantage. No need to make it worse.
Yeah, we got this battle going on right here. Ryan Johnson, Jared Appel. This was the battle for a third. They've got things back to single file. As the 38 of Johnson lubbers the wall coming out of turn number 4. And unlike what we saw last time with the 99 of Philip Scott hitting the wall, number 51 wasn't quite as close following as Ben Mashburn was to Philip Scott earlier, as Chris Darling now pushes up the racetrack right in front of the nose of Johnson. Here comes Michael Madden, also now battling for a spot up there near the front of the field. First time we've seen him inside the top 5 here tonight as he slides on past the number 38 machine. Currently, the biggest mover in the field is Jared Appel in the number 51. There he is on the podium as they run right now in front of Chris Darling. Up ahead of them, like Jason Gracias and John Canizaro Jr. maybe just stretching it out a little bit on the battle for third.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling up here, Peter, real quick to see if Jason Gracias and John Canizaro are in the same team channel, perhaps working together, but they are not. So that seems to be an unplanned pairing there. It looks like Canizaro's in no hurry to pass Gracias, but I wouldn't, like we said earlier, I wouldn't put it past him to make that move after a while, because there's nothing that Canizaro likes more than leading the race, because he looks forward to the opportunity to come up here and torment us after the race for an interview.
That's absolutely true, as you get a sense of the speed here around this 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. These cars absolutely whip around this racetrack. I love racing this particular racetrack, Garrett. It's so fast, it's unique, it races a little bit different. Back in the day, I hated this racetrack. I absolutely could not figure it out. And something about iRacing and this racetrack here, it and I just jive. I don't know what it is about it, but I love running here in iRacing, and I even love running the Roval. The Roval's fun. As you see just a little bit further back in the field now. Maxwell Castro has slotted into the 14th position. Remember, he started this last restart in the second spot on older tires, has now fallen well back. Currently being scored about 7 seconds. Yes, 7 seconds behind Jason Gracias in the T-Rex MaxGrafix.co Toyota Supra up there at the front of the field, as now Jared Appel has run down John Cannizzaro. I was just saying that it seemed like they'd gotten a little bit of distance on third. Well, I take that all back. They're all running together nose to tail now, as Appel might have just clipped the wall coming out of turn number 4.
Here, it looks like the draft is definitely playing a little bit of a role in keeping these guys tight together out there, and as I'm sure you could explain much more in the scientific sense, when these guys are in clean air, how the car drives compared to when they're sucked right up behind someone, and I think that's what we saw there. We saw the third place car catch the second place car, and then potentially looked like he got a little bit tight once he got closer to him and couldn't carry that momentum.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get into the science here tonight. Maybe next time we go to Daytona or something. Speaking of Daytona, last week in our Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, we were at Daytona. Tomorrow night, right here on 3YTV, National Sim Racing Association's Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series goes to Homestead, Miami. I'll put a pin in that one because we have a side-by-side battle for the race lead. John Cannizzaro Jr. went up to the top side to try and find a little bit of pace up there. And Garrett, he found it, and he might be taking the lead away from Jason Gracias as they head towards the start-finish line here.
Well, I'm Jason Gracias, which I'm not. I'm not as successful or good-looking or intelligent, but I would just let Cannizzaro go at this point. Your crew chief, I think he has Jason Freeman in his team channel crew chiefing for him, which I guess there was nobody better available. But I would be telling him right now, listen, points is looking good. Don't get in a peeing contest, as we would say in my neck of the woods, with Cannizzaro. Just get in line here and keep that position. I'll let you know if you need to make a move. So right now, Gracias is not taking my advice as he's right on the bumper of John Cannizzaro, but we'll keep an eye on it.
I love that kind of crash dummy helmet that Jason Gracias runs. I've seen that before. It always gives me a little bit of a chuckle here. You can change up your helmet that you run here in the iRacing.com Motorsports Simulator. If you have not ever used iRacing or you're not familiar with it, Chris Darling gets all types of crazy loses. Oh, contact a second time tonight. We've seen contact between Michael Madden and Chris Darling, but again, they keep it going straight here as we click off another lap now, closing in on the halfway mark. Just 8 more laps before we see the cross flags here at Charlotte.
I think that Chris Darling temper meter is getting up there, and if we ever start doing these races again, we might have to get Carlos to make us a graphic where Darling's temperature is as far as his anger goes. But good job by both those guys keeping the point in the right direction and keeping their solid runs going as we're looking at the damaged car of Justin White and Wolf Scott, who had some contact in the wall earlier. These guys have shown speed throughout the season, but not running where they want as far as this race goes.
Yeah, these two battling side by side at the start-finish line. You see this is the battle right now for a top 10 position, so still a relatively good position. Of course, you want to finish inside the top 10 whenever you can, so these two will battle toe-to-toe, and Philip Scott's not one to back down from any type of a fight. We know that, Garrett. Very similar to John Cannizzaro Jr. Philip Scott, very, very competitive driver out there on the racetrack, a very competitive sort. And that number 99 again, I think, catching the wall for a second time on camera here tonight after he was involved in that first accident with Justin White, the number 2 in front of him. Unfortunately for Ben Mashburn, I did mention the fact that he doesn't often kind of work his way back out on the racetrack when he gets involved in an early race accident. That is the case. The number 24 has taken it to the garage. So we are down to just 17 running vehicles out there as the number 11 and the number 38 go toe-to-toe. In fact, this is a 4-car battle right now for this position between Ryan Johnson, who holds on to the 5th position. Oh, Nathan Maurer and Chris Darling almost having a coming together, and how they keep going straight, I don't know. Garrett, that again looked like maybe a little bit of contact between those two.
Peter, you and I are in sync because when you made your, I didn't cue my mic, but I said the same thing out loud to myself, and we're not going to get into my mental health while I'm talking to myself during the broadcast, Peter. That's exactly what happened. What a battle between these two guys. It seems like they can't get away from each other, and that 4-car pack narrowed up a little bit after that sideways issue there.
Well, Darling's going to slide back now to 7th with Maurer now up to 6th. He's been on an absolute tear. Remember last week, Garrett, Maurer got that great finish at the Iowa Speedway, as Chris Darling could be under fire here and lose another spot to Gary Eschen if he is not lucky here. That 45, the black machine on the inside, does indeed complete the pass before the first kink here on the front stretch. It is a quad oval because of kind of that double kink on the front stretch. But Darling now slides back to 8th. Let's see if we can check out what's going on up at the front of the field. Looks like Cannizzaro, since he got ahead, not quite able to pull away from Jason Gracias. Gracias just kind of gnawing at his heels like a T-Rex would, I would think.
With a T-Rex not at the heels, Peter, I think they were pretty big. And again, I used to read a lot of dinosaur books when I was a kid, but wouldn't they just eat you whole if it was up to them?
I don't know. I wasn't around then, as there's a little bit of smoke on the back stretch. We might, contact Bill Edwards. He might know the answer to that question, because I think he was around there. But hearing that Glenn Grimm possibly might have been involved in something that brought out a bunch of smoke on the backstretch. We'll see whether or not that is the case. See if we can dial up a 3-wide TV replay here on board with the 08, as we will see the cross flags this time here hit the wall coming out of turn number 2, and then it became a little bit of a tank slapper. Good save there by Glenn Grimm, but he did come down pit road and is on pit road right now. As the cross flags here wave, we are now coming around to complete the half race distance, 60 miles down, 60 miles to go here in the season finale. Just jumping over to the 3-wide TV chat, Adam Dama has said good morning from Korea. Good morning, Adam. Great to see you as always here in the 3-wide TV chat in the National Sim Racing Association. Hope to see you on the track tomorrow night, the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. I was mentioning that earlier. We will be racing at the Homestead Miami Speedway tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Not sure what that is Korea time, but Adam, make sure you're there for that one. Hope to see you out there on the racetrack, as Gary Eschen just put the pass on Ryan Johnson. That was a pass for 6, but then caught the wall coming out of turn number 4. I mentioned it earlier, Garrett. That wall out of turn number 4, it creeps up on you pretty quickly, because the banking out of turn number 4 falls away very quickly. The grip level on the car kind of falls away very quickly. Let's see if we can give those in the chat kind of an indication. You got all this banking here. That's a lot of grip. All that angled racetrack is a lot of grip. Then all of a sudden it disappears and the wall comes at you very quickly. When you start to lose that grip and that transition, you're kind of just coming up the racetrack. You're trying to carry all that momentum, Garrett, and if you carry just a little bit too much momentum, that big white wall, it'll say hello.
That's spot on, Peter. And as, like I said, I've raced here, I've struggled here, and you're coming out of turn 4, and you don't want to lift, you don't want to lose any of that momentum, but you start pushing towards that wall, and it is a helpless feeling as you look at the good. Then you look right there, right live on 3-wide TV, we see someone pulling a Gleason out there and making contact with that wall.
That was Nathan Maurer in the Chevy Camaro doing a demonstration of the turn 4 conundrums that you get here at Charlotte Motor Speedway on board with the Simbox.com 971. Just kissed it. Was enough to send him through the infield grass here. Of course, the famous pass in the grass happened here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, if you're a person who's known about NASCAR for a while, you all know the pass in the grass, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt back in the day. It happened right here on the front stretch in the quad oval. But meanwhile, Michael Matten in the number 37 has now worked his way up into the 3rd position. Just completed that pass on Jared Appel just a few seconds ago, as Doug Neal has come down pit road in his machine. Chris Darling has also come down to make a pit stop. Maxwell Castro in the number 15 has made his 2nd pit stop of the night, as has Glenn Grimm. So right now, Garrett, a couple of drivers, including Maxwell Castro, is being scored in the 16th position. Currently 1 lap down. One of our championship contenders here tonight in not in a great position, I would say. You know, he's a lap down at this current stage, but I'm just looking kind of at the math, because it seems like, at least right now, these drivers were last on pit road on lap number 16, which was 30 laps ago. We have less than, well, we have a little bit more than 30 laps to go. So we have 33 laps to go this time. Trying to do that math in my head. So you would think that if these drivers can go about another 5 laps or so, Garrett, they can make it to the end of the race from this point in time. And with the fact that a couple of drivers have already come down pit road, that might indicate that these drivers are set to go all the way to the end of the race on just one more pit stop. Some of those drivers might have already made their final pit stop here tonight in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, and potentially the final pit stop of the season.
Yeah, Peter, right now the strategy, fortune, what do they call it? Well, Magic 8 Ball is what I was looking for. The Magic 8 Ball is saying that Jason Gracias is on the right strategy. Maxwell Castro, we said he needed to stay pretty much on the lead lap. Right now, he scored 1 lap down. Caution comes out. Could be problematic for him as we watch heck of a sideways pit road entry here as we're going to look at our 3-wide TV replay.
Yeah, we're hearing that the 38 of Ryan Johnson kissed the wall, did more than kissing. That is a slapping of the wall, almost slapped the inside wall for good measure as he came up the racetrack right here, unloaded the suspension there, lost grip, almost went for a spin. Good save by the number 38 machine, but that is a lot of right side damage. We'll see if he can come down and get that damage fixed before returning to the racetrack. Meanwhile, John Cannizzaro Jr. and Jason Gracias, still a battle for the race lead between these two. They have been glued together ever since the restart that happened on lap number 19. Gracias all over the back bumper. Does he have a run this time? Might be able to cut back underneath, not able to. But man, I'll tell you what, Garrett, that number 1 of Gracias, he carried so much momentum out of turn number 4. I thought he was going to have a peek to the inside, but Cannizzaro covered it as you could barely put a piece of paper between those two in turns 1 and 2.
Wow, Peter, they are not holding back here at the end of a pit run here, and the 17-1 are battling like it's the last lap of the race. And here's Gracias powering down on the outside, car going to pit road there in front of them. And doesn't seem like these guys are struggling with the handling. Ben Mashburn said in the chat that they're driving like dump trucks out there. Well, these guys must have their CDLs or something, which is something I can't relate to, Peter, because that's why I got fired in the first place.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ben Mashburn says it's driving like a dump truck. Not surprised so many are tapping the wall. And so, yeah, I mentioned earlier, Garrett, that it doesn't look like these race cars are very loose. Well, that is now confirmed by Ben Mashburn. And at least from my experience, a tight race car often leads to a more cautious. That's at least my experience. Usually a looser race car, you get more people kind of spending more time driving the car than you do with a tight race car. At least that's kind of my opinion. More throttle control and all that stuff. And unless the setup is just ungodly loose, and then everyone's spinning. But here tonight is Jason Gracias has to deal with the lapped car of Glenn Grimm trying to go around the outside. And there's contact between the lapper and Gracias, as Glenn Grimm might have caught the outside wall coming out of turn number 4. I'm just wondering here, Garrett, whether or not Gracias, as you can see, a little bit of right side damage now on the number 1 machine. I'm just wondering, as caution flag is out. Jared Appel is gone around. Let's see what has brought out the second caution flag of the night. Here's the number 51 machine. As I say, I've seen no one get loose all night. Jared Appel, first one to get loose, and caught him by surprise as he just spins up the racetrack. A lot of damage on every corner of that car, and that changes a lot of things here, Garrett, because Maxwell Castro is going to be stuck, I think, 1 lap down here, as this could be very, very very costly for the season championship as caution waves inside 30 laps to go.
Wow, Peter, that caution is huge. And our last race of the season together, and you put that 3-wide TV ray gun to good use again. I am sure you charged it up these last 7 days and had it there for the 51. And unfortunately, he's going to fall victim to the loose condition that we didn't think was possible tonight. And now Jason Gracias has this championship well within his reach.
Yeah, sure enough. The leaders coming down pit road, John Cannizzaro, Jason Gracias. We'll see whether or not this affects the poll that's currently going on in the chat. Now, you do have to remember Maxwell Castro does have an extra set of tires, and he can actually take the wave around here to get back on the lead lap. We'll see whether or not Castro elects to do that or not, as John Cannizzaro Jr. hits his pit stall, the number one of Jason Gracias right back behind him. Those iRacing pit crews going to work for all of your lead lap cars. Now, I believe Doug Neal in his number 71 is your Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner, as looks like Gracias, I think, lost the second position. They're coming off pit road. There is Doug Neal, your Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award under the second caution flag of the night, flying on lap number 53 for your leaders here tonight. But Garrett, I will say, anything can happen here tonight. There's still a long way to go, for sure, as we can confirm Michael Madden did beat Jason Gracias off pit road, so move Michael Madden up to the second time for the first time tonight.
Oh, Michael Madden. He's certainly making his presence known, Peter, and I'm looking forward to racing with these guys next year, and drivers like Madden and Appel, and even guys who didn't get to make this race like Miller. I can't wait to be able to race with these talented guys out there. I haven't really had the opportunity so far, and we'll see what Madden has tonight. Maybe he could sneak a win while this championship battle's going on.
So we'll reset the field for you here in just a moment. We'll let you know who elected to take the wave around and all that good stuff, and see who's left one lap down, and all that good stuff and all that bad stuff for some drivers. As we are hearing that Maxwell Castro has elected to come down pit road under this caution. There he is. So he will not be taking the wave around here, Garrett. A strong contender for the Brookstone Animal Hospital if we do get another caution late in this race. And as the laps continue to wind down, that very well may happen. Cautions breed cautions here in the BeerStreetJournal.com Grand National Series. And who knows? We could have a BeerStreetJournal.com last call. That's not out of the question as well. We don't call it overtime here in the National Sim Racing Association. We call it the BeerStreetJournal.com last call. Get some extra laps in at the end of the race, or, green, white checker and all that stuff. That's essentially what it is, if you're more familiar with that term. But BeerStreetJournal.com jumping on board is sponsoring that, as well as this particular series. I posted a link in the chat a little while ago, and we will repost that link if you want to go check out BeerStreetJournal.com. Hosting all of the news for craft breweries across the United States of America. Great place to go check out under this caution flag as the iRacing pace car lights continue to twinkle. Garrett, let's reset the field for everyone here as the pace car goes on by. Glenn Grimm, Chris Darling kind of up at the very front of the field. John Freeman's in that group, and I'm not sure if that's Gary Eschen. I believe it is Gary Eschen in his number 45 machine. They're going to go past the pace car here. They are going to take what is called the wave around, as they are ahead of the leaders when the pace car lights turn off. Looks like 971 Nathan Maurer also taking that, as well as Ryan Johnson. So 6 cars taking the wave around here. And then the pace car picks up the race leader. So all cars in front of the race leader when the lights turn off get waved on past. And then the leader catches up to the pace car. That leader is John Cannizzaro for this upcoming restart. He was outside for the first time here tonight. Michael Madden up to second. Jason Gracias is going to sit in third. And look who's sitting in fourth position. That is the number 99 of Philip Scott, involved in an earlier incident, brought out the first caution flag of the night. Jeffrey Vickery in the number 21 up there in the 6th position. Justin White, 5th spot for this upcoming restart. Behind them, Travis Hoffler in the number 20. And he is in the 7th spot. Then you have Doug Neal. He will be restarting in 8th. He just got that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. There is Maxwell Castro, currently the first driver being scored 1 lap down, and he is in the spot he needs to be in for another Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. 22 laps to go, Garrett. 33 miles left in this season, and Canizaro already on the loud pedal, early on the loud pedal, scoots away from Michael Madden, as here comes Gracias, going to be side by side as they head towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Jason Grassi is looking to get clear here. Doesn't want to be side by side with anyone at this point. He has the advantage, what he needs out there with Maxwell Castro being 1 lap down. If you're a Jason Gracias fan, simple. You want this race to stay green, Jason Gracias to stay up the front. If you're a Maxwell Castro fan, you want that yellow to come out fairly soon here, because we're running out of laps for Maxwell Castro to make his way back towards the front.
Oh, Chris Darling there, almost getting into, I think, oh, Gary Ashton in the wall, and now John Freeman's going through the infield grass. Is Freeman going to save it? Freeman trying to hold on to the 04 machine, and does, but that was a sketchy moment. It all started, I think, when Chris Darling might have gotten, let's see if we can slow this into slow motion replay. Yeah, Glenn Grimm there and Chris Darling kind of got into it with one another. Let's see if we can maybe take this back just a little bit further so you can see that kind of initial contact that happened here. You see Darling slides up the racetrack into Glenn Grimm. Now he put it into 3-wide TV slow-mo because John Freeman here, he's coming up on the back of Chris Darling, who checked up. Gary Eschen checked up as well. Eschen gets into the outside wall. Turn number 4 has been Calamity Corner, and he comes down into Freeman, and they go flying through the infield grass. Able to stay under green flag conditions, however, as right now John Freeman just got back past Gary Eschen in the 04 machine, trying to work his way towards the front. He is being scored 1 lap down right now. John Canizaro, though, still your race leader here, Garrett. Inside 20 laps to go now. Gracias in second, then Michael Madden. Philip Scott, your top 4 unchanged from when we went back green. Travis Hoffler, though, in the number 20. Good showing for him. Currently our biggest mover of the race so far in the number 20, Garrett, starting all the way back in 17th, now running in 6th.
That's a very strong run, that number 20 for Hoffler, and it looks like he has a couple positions right within his grasp here, as Maxwell Castro's scored a lap down, but he could potentially get by Justin White or others here. Philip Scott running a little bit ahead of him. Good run, way to close out the season. You want to have a strong run, maybe have some momentum going into next season.
That is for sure, trying to nip at the heels of Maxwell Castro, who is 1 lap down, and Justin White, who is riding right now inside the top 5, as something just happened. Philip Scott maybe just had a moment. No, he just got past Michael Madden. So those two traded spots a couple of times back and forth, but Philip Scott gets the best of Michael Madden. So Philip inside the top 3 for the first time here tonight. And I think, Garrett, that with the night that Philip Scott has had, if he finishes on the podium, we might be here for the rest of the night if we get to talk with him, because he's going to give us that full rundown, lap by lap, every millisecond of the first caution here tonight. He's going to give us all that in our post-race interviews if he finishes on the podium here tonight. So we might never get to talk to the champion if that's the case. I don't know. Only time will tell. But at least right now, Philip Scott on the podium in that National Ninja League Ford.
Yeah, good recovery for the 99, and to your point, Peter, if Philip Scott does end up getting a podium and becoming one of the 3 people we have to interview, I have a space heater in my bedroom. I think I'm going to knock it over so I can just get out of the house, and I'll let you handle it.
I figured you would say something like that, or we're going to say, hey, I'm just going to go to bed or something, or I'll leave that one to you. Something to that regard. I could see it coming. Meanwhile, Travis Hoffler, Justin White, this is the battle for the 5th position right now between these two. Good job by Hoffler. Like I mentioned, biggest mover of the race, trying to add to that tally. Doug Neal, also your Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner on this most recent caution back there in his Chevy Camaro, trying to battle out for 5th right now. Good job by Doug Neal in the number 71. You're curious about the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog position as they run right now. It is Maxwell Castro in the Next Level Racing number 15 machine. But he's still being scored down in 14th, not where he needs to be here tonight to possibly win the season title. He had a 10-point advantage coming into tonight, and we do things a little bit old school here in this particular series, Garrett. It's not like the way NASCAR runs things where it's a point every position. No, it's kind of the I say old school. It's not super old school, but it is at least old school enough that it's not current, and that is we kind of separate the top 5 positions by 5 points each. So there's 25 points to gain in the top 5, which is huge. Absolutely huge. And last week we talked to the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias, and he seemed a little bit dejected. He kind of sounded like, hey, I'm out of it. I don't know. We're going to go to Charlotte, do what we can, take it race by race and whatnot. But Gracias here, he's in the catbird seat right now. Anything could happen, let's be honest. But right now, he's in the catbird seat by a significant amount. He's definitely going to leapfrog Maxwell Castro if things finish as they are right now. And there's only 11 laps to go for that number 1 machine to possibly be walking away with the season title. And one thing I want to make note of, Garrett, is the fact that Jason Gracias, if you look at his tally this year, 3 wins on his name. Maxwell Castro has 4 wins coming into tonight. If Gracias doesn't win, he won't equal Castro. Castro will still be the winningest driver, which is extremely impressive considering Castro's only been in 10 races before tonight, a 40% win ratio. Or win percentage. Very impressive for Maxwell Castro. But things appear to not be going the way for the number 15 here tonight as he closes in on Michael Batten, but still sits 1 lap down in the Next Level Racing machine.
Yeah, Maxwell Castro is trying to make his way towards the front here, perhaps. He was thinking at some point that he would be able to race his lap back here the old school way, but doesn't look like he's going to have enough time to do that, which is a shame. We hope that our championship battle would be able to be raced. They'd be on the same lap, and then we'd be able to watch a good battle here for this, but strategy did not fall in Maxwell Castro's favor, and right now Jason Gracias is counting down the turns until he can take this checkered flag for this championship.
One thing to note in terms of Jason Gracias, he has very much lost touch with John Cannizzaro Jr. as Cannizzaro has turned on the jets in his number 17 machine. A little bit further back, we just saw Michael Madden get around Philip Scott, who has slid off the podium now, so I think your house won't have to burn down here tonight, Garrett. The National Ninja League number 99 here now has the number 15 of Castro. Behind him is Justin White there at the top of the screen, almost clobbered the outside wall. I think he was just able to stay off of it, but this is a good battle for position. Travis Hoffler has fallen back to 7th. Justin White holding that 5th spot for right now, but is he going to hold on to it for much longer? Because as I point the camera at him, Doug Neal slips on by in the Simbox 71. Good recovery for him. Remember, he was our Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner under that most recent caution. A little bit further back, Jason Shue, the number 3 machine right there. 3 wide TV on the rear of his Ford Mustang, riding inside the top 10 in the night spot right now. Jeffrey Vickery is sitting in 8th as they run. So Jeffrey probably not exactly the night he was hoping for. You see a little bit of right side damage, but he is on the lead lap, and that is something to be thankful of at this stage of the race. But as I say that, holy cow, here comes Justin White. Just as I thought this battle for 5th was over, Doug Neal has almost lost the spot back to Justin White as they race halfway down the backstretch, coming to 5 laps to go here in the 2021-2022 Pierce Rate Journal Grand National Series.
Peter, I wanted to say something about Justin White, so that's good timing. Way to get that spot back, Justin. Well, Doug Neal's not letting him have it that easily, but Justin White, we talked last week about his struggles. He told us he just got some new hardware. He was working on getting that dialed in. He started off tonight, had a little bit of an issue, got in an accident, and this is a heck of a rebound run in the top 10. But I just also wanted to apologize to Justin White. Last week on Friday, I ended up wrecking him, and he actually beat me up in the garage area. And he's a big, angry man, Peter, as we're taking a look here at the replay.
Yeah, seeing what happened here is John Freeman, maybe an opportunity to say that he got some aero push back behind the car in front of him, Ryan Johnson, but John Freeman again going through the infield grass. I don't think we expected to see anyone mowing the grass like we've seen here tonight, as something's happened to Maxwell Castro, the number 15 machine. He was side-by-side with Philip Scott a moment ago, and now he's falling back. A lot of front-end damage. Things not going well at all for Maxwell Castro here tonight. Let's see if we can see what happened to our points leader entering into tonight in contender for the championship, as something must have happened. That's quite a bit of front-end damage on that number 15 machine that I just don't remember seeing before, Garrett. I can only envision that that's happened relatively recently. Went back a couple of laps, does not look like it. So maybe those tires just kind of falling off for Maxwell Castro as the lap count winds down. He really did charge his way up towards the front, but looks like just running out of steam here as the lap count is down to just two more laps. John Cannizzaro is your race leader, but all eyes are on the points leader as they run right now. That is the number 1 of Jason Gracias, the MaxGrafix T-Rex Toyota Supra, halfway down the backstretch. I just wish we could do picture-in-picture here, Garrett. We don't have the capability. I don't have the capability, put it that way, here on 3Y TV. Our other producer does have the capability, but if we could, we would, as the white flag waves for John Cannizzaro Jr. Hasn't looked back ever since getting that race lead checked out on the field, and is looking to come around and get the checkered flag. Just looking at Cannizzaro, 9 starts entering into tonight. This is his 10th start, 0 wins, coming through turn number 3 and 4 to take home his first win of the season. The Wild Child comes out of 4, keeps it off the wall, goes to victory lane, but all eyes are on this man right here, coming across the line right now. Jason Gracias is your BeerStreetJournal.com series champion.
Oh, the highs and lows of this race. I mean, John Cannizzaro won, yippee. But Jason Gracias, your series champion, the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Jason Gracias putting another series championship trophy on his shelf. And what a battle this season with Maxwell Castro, as Maxwell looks like he's going to come up here and congratulate Gracias on a hard-fought championship win.
Yeah, that was definitely a wild ending to the championship, that's for sure. John Cannizzaro Jr. there in the number 17. He is going to get to go to victory lane and really party it up here tonight with that T-Rex machine of Jason Gracias. And I also wonder how that damage on the number 1 machine might have affected, or on the number 1, affected Gracias' attempt to try and take the win and the championship in one, but that don't want to detract from this man right here doing burnouts on the front stretch, Garrett. Gonna be fun to talk to the Wild. Go ahead.
I'll detract from John Cannizzaro. I've seen this song and dance before. Cannizzaro wins a race, but does it really improve anyone's life? No. I mean, the big picture, it's just John Cannizzaro being John Cannizzaro. But in all seriousness, congratulations to both these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. As Jason Gracias, he's just saying, you know what, I'm going to let Cannizzaro do his things. And now Jason Gracias lights him up as your series champion here. Holy smokes. A lot of smoke on the front stretch. That was supposed to be a pun. I didn't do that very well, Garrett.
Well, Peter, we'll get better next week. Oh, wait, no, we won't. Well, anyway.
Yeah, of course, this is the final race for 3YTV here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. We will not be taking the Thursday nights, as here in about a month or so, I will be a father, and that's going to be a crazy ordeal. So I wanted just a little bit extra time, a little bit extra freedom to handle the family matters. As it looks like Jason Gracias is going to leave the racetrack as that engine has gone kaput. So that's kind of what's going to happen here going forward. Definitely nothing bad between us and the National Sim Racing Association. We're going to continue to do the Friday Night Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series right here on 3Wide TV. Going to be a lot of fun for that. And of course, we have that coming up tomorrow night, as we're going to do things a little bit differently this week. Garrett, because Gracias, of course, coming home as the series champion. So we're actually going to interview third place, first place, and then the second place and series champion Jason Gracias, kind of in that order. So Garrett, why don't you take it away here with tonight's third place finisher? I think it's his first podium of the season, Michael Madden, G.
Hey, Michael Madden, Garrett up in the booth. Nice solid podium run for you out there tonight. Tell us a little bit about how your race went. How was the car handling, and how'd you end up coming home in third?
It was getting progressively well on the long runs. I definitely had a top 5 car, I felt like, and I was just able to bring home a podium. I smacked the wall pretty good there on with 5 to go, and it changed the whole dynamic of the car. It got a lot looser, and I was just happy I was able to fight back for a top 3.
Yeah, nothing to complain about when you finish in the top 3, but going into this race, there was a championship battle going on between Gracias and Castro. Did that play into the way you raced out there tonight? Were you afraid of getting into one of those guys at any point?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a late entry into the league. I just want to thank everybody for letting me come in and race, especially during the playoffs. I know how frustrating it can be to have new guys out there. So, yeah, I just wanted to give them the respect they deserve. You know, they got a lot more on the line than I do. I'm just trying to get a win here and, kind of get myself familiar to the series. I don't really run Xfinity cars, so it was a nice little challenge. Had a lot of fun, and I want to thank everybody for letting me join up.
Well, it was awesome watching you these past couple of weeks. I certainly took notice to the speed you had in that 37 machine, and I look forward to racing with you next season if you're going to be back here in NSRA. But before I let you go, I'll congratulate you on your third place finish. If you have any sponsors or shout-outs you'd like to give, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. I want to thank my Rev teammates. They kind of brought this series upon me, and it was a fun little 3 weeks. I'm looking forward. I'm going to come back. Looking forward to racing with you and everybody else. I want to thank Sparkle and Shine. Those guys are my main sponsor. They always got my back and support me with anything I do. So we'll go into the little bit of an off season we got and do a little practice and get ready to go for the next season.
Well, I look forward to racing with you. Enjoy the off season and hope to see you again on 3Y TV soon.
Thanks, boys. Have a good night.
With that, I believe Peter Short is going to catch up with John Cannizzaro.
Yeah, I'm down here in Victory Lane where our good friend, I don't know if we can call him a good friend.
No.
Okay, quite clearly not a good friend. Garrett has spoken. But John Cannizzaro, winner here tonight. Absolutely smoked him there at the end of the race there, John. Jason did get a little bit of right side damage after battling side by side with Glenn Grimm. Maybe that allowed you to scoot away, but nothing taking away from the fact that you are tonight's winner, kept it clean. We heard from a couple of people in the chat that these race cars were very tight here tonight. How did you manage that on way to your first win of the season?
Well, as I heard over broadcast, you would be correct. I am not the most patient person, so having a tight race car is probably my worst enemy on a racetrack. So, for once in my life, I decided to take the advice of my teammate Mitchell Adams, who was in chat, thankfully. He reminded me just for being there, and change the steering ratio. It helps a lot more than you think it does, and especially in my case when you're driving the car as hard as I am. So it doesn't be fun when it's tight. I prefer a loose car, but I think it was drivable.
Well, you definitely figured out how to use that to your advantage. And I mean, when it comes to steering ratio, drivers prefer different things. And if you're a little bit heavy on the wheel, sometimes going up on that steering ratio is a good idea. And getting it to victory lane here tonight. And looking back kind of on your season, what do you think here of the track choice, the car, the season, the racing in general that you have each and every week here in the BeerStreetJournal.com Grand National Series?
The Grand National Series, not as good as my truck series is going, unfortunately. It took this long to get a win, but it's still always fun racing. Gracias especially, congrats to him. I want to say it now before I forget it. Graham, Vickery, anybody else, White, Darling, all of them guys. They all put on a good show. They all race you clean. When they make a mistake, they all confess to it. They say they're sorry. We move on. It's always good here.
Yeah, definitely. Always a good show here in the National Sim Racing Association right here on 3Y TV. Definitely a great season to go back and watch from the very first laps all the way back in 2021. I mean, it seems like forever ago that this season got underway, and they've just been putting on a great show week after week after week from Daytona to Charlotte Motor Speedway. John, kind of shifting gears just a little bit tomorrow night right here on 3Y TV Homestead Miami Stay Tuned Sports Podcast, the Truck Series. What are your thoughts about going to that mile and a half right here, 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow?
I'm more proud of that one because I almost won it last time I was there. But I know what I'm going to do. I got my strategy ready for me tomorrow. I got Jeff Price, who's unfortunately on medical leave for however long he's gone. Hopefully he comes back soon enough to finish the season with us, though. And high hopes. That's what I need. I need to beat Gracias, which I've done today, but I don't think I'm going to do it tomorrow, if I'm honest with you. But we'll have to see.
Well, we'll be keeping our eyes on that one for sure, John. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
I want to shout out you for putting on the broadcast. I know my father really enjoys your commentary. I don't know about Gleason. He's been a rampage in chat today. No, I'm kidding. My father especially likes Gleason, all the funny comments he makes on broadcast, so you two especially. It's always fun to come back and listen to him. Everybody else in the league, Bear Street Journal for sponsoring us, everybody else in chat for watching, and just the whole league in general.
Well, John, congratulations on your win. Trying to beat Jason 2 nights in a row tomorrow night right here on 3Y TV. We'll be watching you turn laps around that mile and a half. Got the job done here tonight at another mile and a half, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it with our wild child, John Cannizzaro Jr., getting the win here tonight, finishing in first. But of course, we all had eyes on the series championship and the number one machine of Jason Gracias. And Garrett, you and I have been friends, at least somewhat friends with Jason Gracias to some degree, going back many, many years, probably sometime around 2006 or so, when Jason Gracias first beat me on the racetrack. But I think you've found your way down to the big championship party with the number one machine, Jason Gracias. There, G.
Peter, I'm sorry it took me so long to get down here. I was so sick after John Cannizzaro won this race, and just listening to that interview, I couldn't control it. But Jason Gracias, we talked to you last week. You were like Eeyore the donkey. Oh, I'll never do anything right. I'm not going to win this championship. Well, results are in, bud. You're the champion. You won this thing by 37 points. How did you pull it off?
Man, I don't know what to say. I mean, first of all, excuse my voice. I went out partying this past weekend, and it didn't treat me too well, so I'm a little bit hoarse. But I just went into this weekend. I knew I had to go lights out. I had to be fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, and win. So the only way to do that in my mind was to channel my inner Jeff Gordon and bring out the T-Rex car. And I almost did it. I still haven't won a race in this car. Every time I've ran it, though, I've finished second. So it's kind of a good luck car for me.
Yeah, it certainly brought you some good luck out there tonight. And early on in the race, you ended up making the strategy call to come to pit road, and Maxwell Castro did not. What was your thought process there?
So I had Jason Freeman spotting for me this week. So it was all pretty much thanks to him. We were just going back in strategy back and forth, and we realized that the tank of fuel was about 40 laps. You can split the race in half and go on one set of tires. So after 16 laps, I figured why not put on a set, because when you hit the 20 lap mark, the fall off was about a second a lap. So if you didn't get tires, you would be screwing yourself. With the way iRacing is, whenever you have a tight setup, it tends to go green, and that held true tonight. So coming in and getting tires really helped me and John pull away from the rest of the field, I feel like.
Well, Jason, I know you're hoarse, but I'm going to ask you probably 2 more questions. This one will be probably a shorter one. Looking back at this season, you've had some ups and downs, mostly ups. I mean, you were in contention for wins in championship all season long. Is there any race in particular that is the most memorable, or any moment out there that you're like, that's what really turned it around for me?
I would say Pocono for a couple of reasons, right? Pocono, we had a lot of the TNR boys come in and race, and that's when we first really hit strides as teammates, just working with each other and coaching and getting better. So I think that was the turning point of the season, just with the morale and just working as a group to get better, especially with my, not so much teammate Chris Darling, coming in and just bouncing ideas off of. So I would say Pocono was the turning point of the season for me.
Well, yeah, at the beginning of the season, I think we all have one goal, and that's to be the champion at the end. And that dream is easily reached for some people and not so easily reached for others. But you did everything you set out to do here in this Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, and I'm sure on behalf of Peter and myself, we want to congratulate you on that championship. And right now, the floor is yours for any thank yous, shout outs, and whatnot you might have on this championship win.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you to NSRA, Justin White, Beer Street Journal, Chris Darling for putting the league together. A really fun way to spend Thursday nights, especially with what's going on in our world with winter. I hate winter, so being inside on a Thursday is love for me. Playing iRacing, really cool thing to do. Thanks to Beer Street Journal for coming on board as the primary sponsor. I know each week I would send you, Garrett, my drink of choice. Because I'm sick this week, I didn't do that, but I am drinking whiskey to try to help the throat. Um, I would like to thank my sponsors, Badcraft Cornhole, for coming on board. We'll get a card made up for next season. Sorry for not running it today. MaxGrafix, superb iRacing paint schemes. If you guys need an iRacing paint, logo, design, whatever you have you. If you own a real life race team and you want a car or wrap or design, look up maxgraphics.co or look them up on Facebook. Chris Darling and the team do phenomenal work. I don't think I've had an ugly car all season. Thanks to Jason Freeman for taking time out of his busy Thursday for spotting for me. Uh, really helped having him in my ear. There was a couple of points in the race where I was about to go off the deep end, but he really calmed me down, kept me focused on the goal. So thanks to Jason for coming out and spotting for me. Shout out to John. Good win, John. Oh, you were going back and forth. I know you say I was beat on the long run, but this time you had me. Even if I had damage, a win's a win. Congratulations. Thanks to TNR, Philip Scott, Jason Shu, Vinny, Josh Schobel, everyone who comes down to races every week. Thanks. As a team, I think we've done a good job getting better, elevating ourselves. And thanks to 3Y TV, Garrett, you and Peter, a really good job commentating this season. I can't wait to see what 2022 has in store for us here.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I look forward to being your teammate for this next Beer Street Journal Grand National Series season, and enjoy that whiskey tonight, bud, and enjoy this championship win. You've certainly earned it.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, well, that's going to do it with our 2021-2022 BeerStreetJournal.com Grand National Series champion Jason Gracias, who, all things considered, 3 wins on the season out of the 15 races. Very, very strong performance out of Jason Gracias as well in the BeerStreetJournal.com Grand National Series chase. Now, we are going to get a quick word before we kind of wrap all things up here on 3 Wide TV with Chris Darling, league administrator, was also in the race here tonight in the number 11 Taz Racing Customs machine. And Chris, what a way to round out the season. The race went down to the final race. Definitely had twists and turns here tonight, but twists and turns all season long. And I know this season was definitely not possible without the series sponsors like BeerStreetJournal.com.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Beer Street Journal. It's pretty awesome of them to come on. I know Stan Hausman does a lot of work with them on the side, and he helped out a lot getting them on board. Justin White did a great job at keeping the series together and running it all season. And, I just want to thank everybody involved, everybody that raced. I want to congratulate Jason on his championship. He did a great job. Maxwell too. Really, everybody in the top 10 did pretty awesome all season. And then I just want to give you guys a big thanks. Hopefully we can get the pair of you two back into the booth at some point. I know next season it's not going to happen, but we're going to have to work on something.
Well, it's definitely been a lot of fun and an absolute pleasure up here in the 3 Wide TV booth, calling each and every one of these races, Chris. And, of course, we're sticking around for the Friday nights here going forward, so going to be a lot of fun to broadcast those. I know tomorrow night to Homestead, Miami. What are your thoughts about the Truck Series heading on to Homestead, Miami, race number 2 for the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series Chase?
I'm pretty excited for that one. Multi-groove racetrack, so it should be pretty fun. Season's really winding down. Everybody's starting to sort of get back into it after we had that long winter break, I'll call it. I don't know. It should be a great race. So hopefully everybody who tuned in tonight tunes in tomorrow night, and maybe we'll get a few new viewers too.
Absolutely. Hope to see everyone in the chat here tonight, here for that one tomorrow night. But Chris, thanks for stopping on by, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here on the channel.
All right, thanks guys, and thanks for having a season full of fun and good times on Thursday nights. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. As we will let him get back to what he was doing with his group there after the race, doing all the admin duties and all that stuff. Let's see if the graphic still works. Sometimes the graphic doesn't work when we go so long here, and sometimes it stuff doesn't turn off quite right and all that madness. And well, it doesn't really work because I can't turn off the other graphic. Okay, well anyway, we'll go through it. John NSRA Jr. comes home with the race win, 3.5 seconds in front of your series champion, Jason Gracias. Michael Madden finishing in third. Philip Scott gets top 4 after being involved in an early accident. Top 5 for Justin White, who was also involved in that same accident. Doug Neal comes home in 6th. Travis Hoffler in 7th. Travis is also our Taz Racing Customs biggest mover of the race award winner in his number 20 machine. Jeffrey Vickery in 8th. Jason Shue rounding out our top 9, and Nathan Maurer finishes in 10th there, Garrett.
Ryan Johnson's shown a lot of speed this year, comes home in 11th tonight. Gary Eschen in 12th. Maxwell Castro comes up one position short for that championship, finishes in 13th. Just did not have the luck tonight. John Freeman had to ride through the grass, and which was equally as impressive as his ride at Pocono, where he saved all that fuel. Comes home in 14th. Series admin, Chris Starling certainly had an exciting night out there. Comes home in 15th. Glenn Grimm, 16th. Jared Appel, 17th. Ben Mashburn took his number 24 to the garage early on. Comes home in 18th. And I believe we had... Oh, no, the other cars did not start, Peter. I think that's it.
Yeah, I was seeing if you would remember there, Garrett. I wasn't exactly sure. Let's see if, just testing you, right at the very end, that was your final test of the season. Biggest mover of the race award, like we mentioned, goes to the number 20 machine here tonight of Travis Hoffler. Picked up 10 positions on his way to finish in 7th. If you need a custom diecast, check out our friends over at Taz Racing Customs. There's a link in the description of the video here tonight, specializing in making the best custom diecasts. If you can dream it, we can build it. We do customs for drivers, businesses, local drivers, or any special occasion, and they can turn your sim race car into a diecast. So pretty cool to have them on board this season. It's our biggest mover of the race award sponsor. But that's going to do it here. That's a wrap on the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here on 3Y TV. It was a great season, Garrett, and it kept us on our toes all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Beer Street Journal for letting us do this. Chris, Justin, all the admins at NSRA, and Peter, thank you for letting me be a part of this as well. Congratulations to you and your wife on starting a family here within the next month or so. You're going to be an awesome dad. I love you, brother.
And to speak to that point, Garrett, having you up here in the booth, I think you earned quite a few fans being up here in the booth, except for maybe John Cannizzaro. I think John Cannizzaro is probably still not a fan of you up here in the booth. But hey, it is what it is. Hopefully we can have you back up here in the booth some more going forward, and I'm sure that that will be the case. But folks, just echo what Garrett said. Big shout out to BeerStreetJournal.com if you have not checked them out already. If you have not checked them out all season, shame on you. Make sure you do that right now. They have a Facebook page, a Twitter, and other social media pages as well, as you can go on and like and follow and stay up with BeerStreetJournal.com. I know I follow them on Facebook, and you should too here tonight. Big shout out to our pit crew members as well, the folks who have joined the 3-Wide TV pit crew here by hitting the join button on YouTube. We're up to 4 members. I know Chris Darling, Stan Hausman, Carlos Acosta in that group, as well as Ahidi Rig, who was not in the chat here tonight. But a big shout out to those 4 people for joining our pit crew as we continue to grow the channel. But until we meet again, hopefully that's tomorrow night right here on the channel, 9 o'clock Eastern, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But until we meet again, folks, stay safe and all that good stuff, and have a good night. See ya!